So welcome everybody to the fifth of the interviews that Silart is working on for their next project, Eunoia 2.0, Prostitution of Stories, which will take place next 28th of June in the venue offered by Kulturhaus Helferei in Zurich, Switzerland. Today we have the pleasure of having Riikka Talvitie. Thank you for joining us and for sharing this space of talking and about your experience. Please tell us about you, about your line of work. Why do you work on that line? A bit about you and your art.
About my compositional work, I'm sort of trying to somehow find the ways out of the sort of contemporary music modernism, so that the practice of the composer could be somehow more close to what I think and feel ideologically of the world today, and so that's why I'm sort of a little bit like struggling of the format of how the concert life is somehow going on, and what is the job of the composer.
Mm-hmm. And what is your opinion about what the composer of nowadays should be?
I would be more interested to work with people and to work in a
or horizontal.
Yeah, and that the context, what is like different context is.
Mm-hmm. This horizontal way of working is the one that you are using nowadays, or is the one that you would like you would like to normalize in your type of work?
I'm doing my doctoral research about somehow expanding the compositional work, or what the composer is doing, and I don't really have a fixed goal or a certain aim in my work, but I have tried to somehow expand the profession so that I'm working. I do collaborations with different types, and the most obvious ones are really with other artists and with the group work, and already in the opera, making opera, you need to collaborate. But then somehow the more important collaborations for me are the non-normal ones, like working with children, or working with larger groups, or working in a pedagogical context, or community art context, or also trying to somehow find how to also research collaborations, that if it's artist and researcher, what can happen during the process. So I don't know if the outcome of this work, sometimes these outcomes are quite they are quite they are not fixed artworks, fixed scores. Yeah. They are sort of more like performances and performance art processes, and some of them are not maybe perfect in that sense that we should we should work, but they are more focused on the process and that.
Nice. And Rita, for you were mentioning that the process has a lot of importance in your work, no?
Yeah, the social aspect is really actually really important. And I've been as a composer, I have been working in many pedagogical things in my life. But then during this research project, I somehow changed my view from the composition pedagogy to the community art, or not exactly community art in such, because somehow I find it quite difficult to somehow jump to the other field. But I have been participating like processes, research processes where we have been somehow researching the ethics of the community art and this sort of things, and I have been trying to somehow understand why the situation is so different in the classical music field than in other arts, that why all our pedagogical things are in some sort of audience, what is it called? Like opera houses has some sort of participatory projects and audience engagement and this kind of things, and they are all the things are somehow set from somehow up to down, so that if I work with the children in this sort of institutional context, my main work is to somehow gain more audience, but not to work with those people somehow like as somehow in an equal
horizontal way of working.
In these discussions, I have used one example actually of my work, which was I did a half an hour school opera performance, which was really like composed and really like exactly written, and it was done by a class which is specialized in music, so they were really skillful, and it was really like really well organized, and the performance was performed many times for children. And then the same project was done in a really ordinary classes and in ordinary schools, and it was an area where there are there's Finnish and Swedish speaking area, so there are schools, Finnish speaking schools and Swedish speaking schools, and they were like sixth grade pupils. There were around 100 of them from different schools, and so I had to somehow open the same material towards totally different like process, so that some of the scenes were written somehow again, so that the pupils were writing themselves, and some of the songs were I just took a couple of melodies and then I did canons and all that. So it was it sounded completely else, but then somehow the process was really nice and interesting in that sense that I was able to somehow rewrite the material to certain groups, so that it was really like fixed for the groups. But then after these two processes, I tried to somehow present my work, and then I have a really nice video from the first one. But then the second one, because it was a huge project, I'm not allowed to somehow show the video, or it's like there are like rules in the schools that it's not public, and also I didn't like collect any research material, so the second project doesn't exist anymore. So it was just a performance, a really nice performance, but I can't like explain about this question somehow. So it is not only the question of like art, but it's also the question of research. So it's kind of like disappearing material. And I try to describe it for my colleagues, but they somehow think that I always should get the work of art after the processes, and I sort of disagree, because I somehow like more the process.
I have a question, and is in all your professional process that you are telling us, are all your projects, could you tell us a personal event, or do you think that a personal moment for you has influenced it in your music on it, or your process?
I don't know if it's like an event, but I quite many years ago I somehow already decided that I'm sort of, I was really fed up with this role of the composer, that you give the score and then you wait and then you go there on the stage and that's it. And somehow that lack of communication, or lack of maybe first I was really fed up with lack of communication with the audience. That was maybe the first thing I was somehow missing. And then I decided that I, in every process and project and composition, when I work, I will somehow try to think about the context. So could you tell us a bit what did it inspire you from our project? So I, in your project, I somehow see it really like refreshing that you look those questions really like in the new perspective, and also like this idea of collecting interviews is like it's that many people are doing lots of things in around the world, but because we change all the time these composition, these scores, and so that we are somehow talking about the contemporary music in a way that it has existed so long. So what could be the way to somehow open it, what is happening all around, and maybe it needs a little bit like more documentary.
The world right now is having a lot of changes, and there are some questions that they should be answered.
Yes.
Sometimes I think classical music, will look through other side, because it's our passion, and like we love to do that, and we love to play, and we love to enjoy the music, but it's a kind of a individual way of living in this world.
Yes, and also the personal, I don't know how is it in other countries, but in Finland we have like 30 years we have always said like that in music you don't hear the gender, that it's like it's absolute, you don't hear it. And I started to answer like that when I was a student, that it's some sort of neutral. But slowly I have been thinking that I think it would be nice to hear whatever, like the gender, but also like other like interest of the composers and the background and all the kind of individual choices and all the differences and all that. So it's like somehow I don't think if it's a good goal that we all sound same.
Very
different personalities.
Yeah.
And do you have any references, composer references, or do you think that you have had female references?
Somehow, like in a really like no, in a really like a kind of practical level, or I mean like, is it practical? No, in a kind of everyday level in Finland. Kaija Saariaho has been really like a powerful person in that sense that she has somehow shown that this is possible, but somehow she's a little bit older than older generation in that sense that when I started to study, then it was quite normal to study, so that we didn't have any that sort of basic problems in the how to.
But is a reference, for example, Sariaho, in your music, but also in your way of growing as a composer. I mean, like it's a reference, but not only in your music, but also in your way of living your life as a composer, of keep working, trust yourself.
Yeah, maybe, but somehow I feel that I'm not referring to her music almost at all. Like it's like in that sense, it's more like maybe we just need the somehow need to like need the persons who do things first and then and maybe the situation is quite different in different countries, like here at this at the Sibelius-Academy in Helsinki. It has taken quite a long time that I'm the first lecturer, female lecturer in composition and all that, so it's like really slowly.
Are you considering yourself as a reference for the next generations? Because you're working as a teacher, giving workshop, working in a collective groups. So are you considering yourself?
Yeah, in some sense, I've been doing many things first, like in this Finnish Composer Society and all that. It needs it needs female persons to somehow participate, and I hope it helps for the future that the balance would be. I have also been coordinating one research project which is called equity in composing, and that was a pedagogical project for researching this gender issue. Actually, we had the main question was that there were actually quite many female students in the music schools, like under 16 years old, but then quite few were somehow trying to get into the Sibelius-Academy, so there was sort of kind
of a gap.
Yeah, and that was our research question in that sense. So it's in some sense it's maybe, I hope these projects are somehow helping to.
Yeah, I think that like having feminine references will give like the power to other ones to get through it. Like, because if you grow up with that everything is normal, like, this is the normal thing, that woman can do this. This is the normal. Like, not even question that this should be the normal. This questioning in the way of doing things makes the difference, because it's in your unconscious way of doing life. So if you grow up with women with power, like being around, they do this, they do this, they are free to decide, they do, then you do it. because it's the normal. Of
You
course,
assimilate,
more
yeah.
than I'm doing that. Then you will see what is not normal or what is normal when you are like when you grow up. But when you are a child, you don't think about this. You just do. And I think it's super important to make projects that give this chance to the people that they are growing up, their personalities.
Like they have a voice.
Yeah.
Really important as the rest.
Yeah. And I think it's that this could be related with the thing that you have said, that could be interesting to listen the difference between women, or like not woman and man, just like between each individual composer or each individual musician or artist, that to achieve your own personality in your art.
And maybe also the question of like which is now quite important, is like if you, when you are a composer, so if you are performing yourself or not, maybe that could also be like some of the persons like to perform and some of not, so it's not like on off or good or bad, but it's like more like the personality and the
nice. And in your case, you prefer to do it or you prefer not to do it?
I have done it.
You have done it?
I have performing quite much, but now I feel that because I don't have possibility to practice oboe anymore, so it's like I feel a bit like old in that sense. Yeah.
It's difficult to have time for everything in life.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much, Riikka.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
Really interesting.
Thank you.
Really interesting and really inspiring.
And inspiring. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye.